I've been a late night player. I've been broke as a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker. Taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger. Make my day just.
Hello, 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 and welcome to Sports Buzz, a Fan-atical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this June 27th. Summer in full bloom right now, hot outside, beautiful day as a matter of fact. Could have tipped over 90 degrees, I do believe. But, you know, low humidity, I thought it was pretty hot, but nice. We'll take more of this weather. The rain is lingering a couple days here and there, but for the most part, it seems like we are drying out and getting into some good summer weather. July 4th on the horizon. We could really be diving deep into this whole nice summer weather thing. And we are here in the studio live until 7 o'clock. 203-792-4101 is the number. We may be getting a couple calls. We may be getting one from our right-hand man, Mr. Bob Brawl Jr., who is down at Rogers Park tonight, checking out the Westerners as they look to win their third straight, I believe, as they are off to a decent start to the season. But he's down there. We're not sure if we'll hear from him. Strange Man has threatened to call into the show this week, so we'll see if the phones ring. But if not, you could call 203-792-4101 since I am flying solo or duo with my director, David Suero, in the control room, our Dominican insider. No real news on the David Ortiz thing this week. They dropped that knowledge last week that it was a mishit. A lot of people said, we don't buy that. Some people said, wow, that's crazy, and been pretty quiet since. So I don't know, maybe Darkness El Diablo, DJ Malo will break into the show again this week and give us some new tidbits. But he's directing, no audio assistance. The Met Maniac might show up partway through the show, so we'll see if he gets in. We'll get him on a microphone behind the camera if he does. But we'll get into the show. And we're just programming note quick, July 4th next week, so we will be off enjoying the day. Hopefully nice weather that day, hopefully nice cold beers that day, and good times had by all. Cerveza más fina para mí, and that'll be that. But we'll be back after that, and we'll see what's going on. So I was going to start, I guess, with the Red Sox being terrible, but the Mets have trumped them in that situation as they got walked off today in brutal fashion, similar to what the Red Sox did yesterday afternoon, taking the lead in the 8th inning before blowing it in the 9th. Mets did it today down in Philly, trying to avoid the 4-game sweep. Unbelievable that the Phillies came into that series losing 7 straight, and Mets come to town, and the Phillies now have won 4 in a row. As the Mets this afternoon, I heard part of this game on the radio. I heard them take the lead in the 9th with a 2-run home run, 3-1 lead they had going into the bottom of the 9th inning. I stepped away from the radio for 10-15 minutes or so, came back, and the Mets announcers were saying, I cannot believe the Phillies won this game with a 2-run homer to tie it at 3 and a 3-run homer to win it 6-3. So the Mets have just fallen extremely far, 37-45 now, losing 5 straight, 2-8 in their last 10. We know last week, what took place with, the manager Mickey Callaway and the pitcher Fargas blowing up at the media, cursing them out big time, big confrontation in the clubhouse. They were both fined, but, I don't know. When are they going to get fired, Mickey Callaway? That could happen, I would think, especially after things have really cratered after that big blow-up with the media, where he had some choice words in the clubhouse. And now they lose 5 straight to finish off this road trip before heading home, and swept 4 games in Philadelphia. which is just ridiculous, especially when you consider Philly had lost 7 in a row before the series. So we're pretty much at the halfway mark now of the season, and the Mets are trending downward in a big way. Braves still on top in the East, 48-33. Phillies 43-38, recovering after losing those 7 straight to win 4 in a row, so getting themselves a little right. And the Nationals also playing very well, a game with away from being back at 500, and the Nationals had played terribly for so long, and now they're cruising by the Mets into 3rd place, trying to get over 500, catch up on the Phillies, and get into that wild card picture out in the National League. So the Nats really have righted their ship. The Mets have not been able to do that. They just continue to stumble. The bullpen, 21 blown saves now for this Mets bullpen, which I really thought was going to be a strength coming into the season. Edwin Diaz, part of the Robinson Cano from Seattle deal they pulled off in the offseason. And I thought Diaz was the saving grace of that trade. He's 1-5 on the year. I'm not sure how many blown saves he has total. The bullpen's blown 21, I believe it is, saves this year for the Mets. So their bullpen is just a disaster. The Red Sox can relate with what they got going on in their bullpen situation. But the Mets are really in bad shape, 37-45. Around the rest of the National League, you got the Cubs at 43-37, holding off the Brewers at 42-38. Cardinals a game over 500 at 40-39. Dodgers way out west, 55-27, best record in baseball. Yankees are fighting them for that title, but the Dodgers out west, Rockies at 42-38, Diamondbacks 41-41, Padres 40-40. So some teams at or above 500 as the phone, I believe, is ringing. So we will see who that is. Is it Strange Man? Is it Bob? Is it one of you callers, listeners out there? We'll see. Hello, this is Sports Buzz. You are live and on the air. Who do we got?
We got a Strange Man here. Scotty, what's going on?
Not much, Strange Man. How you doing? I'm flying solo tonight. Bob's down at Rogers Park, so we welcome your call to join into the show.
All right, listen, I got 2 things, all right? I'll let you go.
All right.
All right, the Travelers.
Mm-hmm.
Chaz Reedy won it, right?
Yes, he did. I think was a first win in about 10 years for him on the tour.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Chaz Reedy, 250th start since he won a tournament.
Okay, yeah, it was a long time.
After his expenses, guaranteed $1.2 million in earnings.
And he gets an automatic into the Masters and the U.S. Open next year, or PGA maybe?
Well, I tell you, persistence paid off, didn't it?
Yeah, well, you get that payday. You got to love that. You're back on the map as a winner. And so the Travelers takes place up there, what, in Hamden, is it? Or no, it's Cromwell, right?
Yeah, it's Cromwell.
Cromwell, right.
Yeah, it used to be called the Greater Hartford Open, I believe.
Right, now it's in Cromwell. They got, a lot of players were there this week, including Mickelson, who missed the cut, too bad. But big time, Spieth was there. Here we see, I think that's Tommy Fleetwood. But Koepka, a lot of players. Molinari was there. But Chaz Rainey comes away with the win. And they ended up with decent weather because remember last week was so rainy. Thursday wasn't a great start, but by the time they got into the weekend, the weather was pretty nice.
Yeah, I like how they do it too, like veterans and their families get in for basically free,
Speaking of golf, local, I will mention down at Richter Park, I don't know if this goes all through the weekend. I know it was yesterday and today, the Mayor's Cup. And speaking of good weather, they had some good weather going down. So down at Richter Park right there in Danbury, take a peek if you're looking for something to do. I don't know if that continues through the weekend or not, but I know it was yesterday and today. My sister's down there working it, and she was promoting it, so I'll mention that. Richter Park, Danbury, the Mayor's Cup.
Thanks for the info.
Yeah.
All right, second thing is, like we talked before,
Yep.
You know, there's the two big games in England this weekend.
Yeah.
You know, both. I think the Boston Red Sox are going to be home in both games.
Yes.
And it's like a 1-something on Saturday, and then like an early game on Sunday. And the Boston Red Sox are getting money from Major League Baseball because otherwise they would have played at home. So the money that they lose from filling up Fenway, MLB is going to recompensate them. But like we talked in the past, I think you're going to see a blockbuster deal to redo the bullpen.
Yes, I would hope so. After yesterday, after this whole season, I mean, we basically are at the halfway point, strange man, and they've blown 16 games already this year.
Yeah, they only went 3-3 in the homestand.
That was pathetic. Yesterday they take an 8-7 lead or a 7-6 lead in the bottom of the 8th, and then Matt Barnes can't close the door, and he gives up a 2-run home run. And they lose again after having a lead. They were 97-1 last year when they had a lead with 3 outs to go in a game. They've already lost 4 games in that circumstance this year, and as I mentioned, they've blown 16 saves overall.
But that 17-inning game, that was a real heartbreaker. You know, it was. I looked at the instant replay, and the guy was definitely foot was out of the box. And Cora went crazy. He had the right to go crazy. I would have never apologized. But look, like we talked before, enough is enough. I think
enough is enough.
A good setup man.
God.
They need a good setup man and a good closer for the pen.
They have an incomplete team. When you don't have a closer, your team is incomplete. If you don't have a bullpen, you don't have any chance of succeeding in the major leagues. And they do not have a bullpen. It's ridiculous.
And the experiment is basically over. Mookie Betts is back in the leadoff spot.
Right.
You said that, that should have been, they never should have moved.
That should have been from day one. He should have picked a closer as well. I mean, they didn't have a closer, so, I mean, Barnes seems like his confidence is completely shot. Brazier the same way, because he was like, we don't have a closer. We're just going to go by feel, game situation, one or the other. And it screwed both those guys up. Now neither one of them is reliable at setup or closing. So they're blowing games in the 8th. They're blowing games in the 9th. They're blowing games in extra innings. I mean, that 17-inning game, like you mentioned, they blew that game 3 times. They had the lead in the 9th, they had the lead in the 13th, and then they had the lead in the 17th, and they lost all 3 times.
Well, I think the bats are all right because, like yesterday, the Chi Sox closer blew. I mean, the Boston made him, lose his first save. He lost the first one save opportunity. So I think the bats are there. But
the bats are actually hitting, and if you look at their numbers,
the pen before the trade deadline.
Well, Stephen Wright came back yesterday. That could help in the bullpen. Evaldi will be back soon. They say they're going to put him in the rotation. That could give somebody else a chance. A couple of their guys have been hurt, but overall they have to go out and get a legitimate closer to solidify this bullpen and get things straight. They're only 20-20 overall at home. They're not going to be home again, even though these next 2 games are home games in London. They won't be home again until July 12th. I mean, this schedule this year has been ridiculous.
Yep. After the England deal, they come back and face Toronto. But
and Sale has not won.
At least the knuckleballer got back.
Stephen Wright came back. Sale has not won a game at home since August of last year. No home wins at all this year from Sale. 24-18 they are on the road, only 20-20 at home.
I know, but there are positives in the pitching staff, you got to admit, because they have the highest strikeout average per 9 innings. So it's really strange what's going on.
Very, but it's all about the bullpen.
All right, listen, I'll let you go. Have a good rest of the show. Stay cool. Strange Man over and out.
Thanks for calling, Strange Man. Happy 4th of July next week. Take care.
Take care.
All right, Strange Man feels the same way I do about the Red Sox bullpen. And I just got a message from Mr. Met Maniac. He's not going to be able to chime in. He's stuck in traffic. But, you know, this bullpen situation for the Red Sox has just got to end. Unbelievable. How are you going to blow a game yesterday afternoon when you're losing the whole way? You come back, you rally, you chip away, and then you finally take the lead in the bottom of the 8th inning. And then the Bethel boy, Matt Barnes, who, you know, just was not getting it done. Every at-bat he has these days is like some 10-pitch struggle where he can't put hitters away. He's afraid of giving up the long ball, and he gave up the 2-run home run yesterday afternoon. And the home run totals, Yankees just set the record. 29 straight games the Yankees have now gone with hitting a home run, which is a new Major League record. The home run totals in the majors are just ridiculous right now. What's going on with that? It's all strikeouts or home runs or walks. Not enough ball in play, station to station action going on. So it really makes the game a little bit more boring. But the Yankees are making hay with their home record, 31-14. Yankees, you know, they always seem to play at home. They always get these long 10, 11, 12-game homestands. They just finished it up against the Rays, Astros, and Jays. I think they went 10-1 to move to 52-28. Ridiculous. 31-14. They played 10 more games so far at the All-Star break at home than they have, or we're not at the All-Star break, but we're at the midway point of the season, as if you count how many games have been played. 80 games or so being played by most teams. 21-14 on the road. So they head to London to face the Red Sox. Why are the two best, you know, teams, two of the best marquee teams in baseball having to go to London to play? Red Sox losing. Red Sox have played at Yankee Stadium twice already this year. They haven't played the Yankees at Fenway Park, and they're going to have to go play 2 games against the Yankees in London. It's a joke. That is totally ridiculous. The schedule by the Red Sox this year has been horrific. Absolutely atrocious what they've had to go through schedule-wise. But, you know, no excuse, because the bottom line is the bullpen blows it night in, night out. 16 out of 32 chances, something like that, they have blown this year. You're not going to win if you're blowing games late every night, and they're doing it way too often. So big problems for the Red Sox, who are 44-38, 9 back of the Yankees. The Rays are ahead of them at 45-35. Cleveland and Texas are 44-36. Oakland out west 43-38. Angels 41-40. The Astros are ahead of all of them at 50-31, and the Twins also 52-27. So those other teams I just mentioned are more wild card teams, with the division leaders all running away pretty much. You know, pretty good cushions. Twins, you know, 9 games up on the Tribe. Houston, 5 games, I guess, up on Texas. So maybe that one's still a little bit tight. But the Yankees are trying to run away with it. We mentioned the stuff out west. Let's mention some Westerner stuff. It doesn't sound like we're going to hear from Bob. Yes. Darkness on the yes. Thank you. 10 minutes? All right, 10 minutes left as Darkness chimes in. Westerners 8-4. They won 2 in a row. They did lose that first place matchup with the Mystic the other night, who are 10-4 in first place. They lost that game actually 10-4. But the Westerners have bounced back with 2 wins in a row. Another 10-4 win of their own last night. They are home tonight. You know, so they are looking pretty good. They did get rained out, unfortunately, on Tuesday for the 25th anniversary. So they're going to have to reschedule the celebration for that. Not sure when that'll be, but they did bounce back with 2 wins. They got 4 rainouts so far, so they should have played more games than they have. But at 8-4, they're behind Mystic at 10-4, but they're ahead of Newport at 8-5. Martha's Vineyard is 5-8. Ocean State 6-10. New Bedford 4-9. So Westerners avoiding long losing streaks. They had the 3-game losing streak, but they bounced back after that and have gone 2-3 since, 2 out of 3 since. So doing a good job. Get on down to Rogers Park for that and check them out. They're there right now. Game getting underway probably as we speak. I did want to mention some NBA stuff before we get into World Cup. The draft took place last week. The big news before the draft was Anthony Davis getting traded to the Fakers. It's just the Lakers have gotten such luck in the draft lottery the last few years, and that is really what set up them being able to make this move. They moved up again this year after the last 2 years moving up 2 years in a row to the number 2 spot. This year they moved up to the 4 spot, so they had the assets, some of those players that they had picked high last 2 years, and then they had the number 4 pick, which New Orleans probably traded down. But so that was the big talk before. Now we got the free agent signing period coming up. And the big news, and I'm not going to get ahead of myself because this would be great if it happened. King Kemba is looking possibly going to take the place of say goodbye to Kyrie Irving. We couldn't wait for that to happen in Boston. So if the former Husky ended up landing in Boston, that would really rejuvenate quickly after last year's debacle with Kyrie, who might be heading to Brooklyn. And also the whole thing with the Knicks, like they thought they were going to get Zion Williamson, they thought they were going to get Durant and Kyrie, or maybe Kemba, but now they look to be on the outside with everybody. But we don't know. Lakers are making some moves. They already got Davis. Now they're apparently cleared up some more cap space. We'll see. But the other thing in reference to a former Husky, and this will also rejuvenate the fan base here in Connecticut, UConn is back in the Big East for basketball and all other sports except for football. Football is going to have to become an independent or find some other conference to join in on. But wow, that came out of nowhere. So the Huskies going back where they never should have been, out of the Big East. So that'll be huge. And keep your eye on Kemba, possibly, hopefully, joining the Celtics. It's Kyrie, Kawhi, Kevin, Kemba, Clay, all these guys out there, and maybe the Knicks being out on all of them. So we'll keep our track on that. I'm sure when we come back after our holiday break next week, we'll have some info on who signed where and when. World Cup, the quarterfinals got back underway today, and England, I don't know if the final was 3-0 or not. They were up 3-0 last I checked late in that game against Norway. So England will be advancing to the semifinal, where they will face the winner of France and USA, which takes place tomorrow in the quarterfinal. France, of course, the host nation. A lot of people complaining this matchup is happening too early in the tournament. But we say, strange man, I have water here. Or strange man, Dud Suero comes in with some water for me. As I was losing it. England is going to await the winner of France-USA tomorrow. And USA advanced, getting past Spain. And that game was unconvincing, really. Spain played them extremely tough. And it was 1-1 for a while. USA scored both those goals on penalty kicks, and neither one of those penalties were, great penalties to take as far as determining the outcome of a game. By the letter of the law, they did play, there were some, ticky-tack weak fouls that took place in the box, out at the top of the box, really. Nothing where it was like a situation where we had people running to, coming in to score a goal. So it was not like somebody was being stopped a chance to score. They were innocuous plays where they took place towards the top, and it really was tough for Spain to go down that way after they played so tough. But USA does advance on the 2-1. Megan Rapinoe, of course, in the news with her stance, and I don't blame her for saying hell no to a trip to the White House if they do win. But don't get ahead of yourself. This is still a tight tournament. Heavy European influence as all the other teams went down. All the European teams advancing through. Germany over Nigeria. Norway had beaten Australia before losing today to England. England in that controversial game against Cameroon. Cameroon almost walked off the pitch. France beat Brazil in overtime. Didn't get to penalty kicks. Norway, that was the only game that went to penalties. They beat Australia 4-1 in penalties. France beat Brazil 2-1 in overtime. Second overtime, they got that second goal. We mentioned USA over Spain. Sweden with the tremendous, unbelievable, here's the penalty kick, and here's the penalty save. Unbelievable. Sweden with the goalie came up huge, outstretched, got both hands on the ball, knocked it away to preserve the win over Canada 1-0. Italy, my Italian ladies, who were really an also-ran coming into this tournament, but they are playing loose, they are playing free, they are scoring goals, 2-0 over China, and the Netherlands also ousted an Asian team on the same day, 2-1 against Japan. So Italy and Netherlands will play in one of the quarters. And we got France versus USA and Germany on Saturday as well versus Sweden. Germany will have 2 extra days off. I'm not sure why they got to rest the extra days. Sweden will be going into that game on short rest against Germany. So we'll see what happens as it's winding down. 3 more quarterfinals to go before we get our semifinal matchups set up. Gold Cup last night. Big, nice win for USA. Jose Altidore back. Altidore is a big, tough, good player, has hamstring injury problems all the time. We remember the last time they were in the World Cup, that was a huge blow. He went down in the first game, but he was in last night, and he came up with the goal in a 1-0 win over Panama. They went 3-0 in the group stage in the Gold Cup. They are on to the quarterfinals, where they will play Curacao. Interesting that Mexico and Costa Rica get matched up in the quarterfinals, the 2 best teams. Haiti and Canada are also matched up. Jamaica, who did not lose, 1 win and 2 draws against Panama in the other quarterfinal matchups in the Gold Cup. In the Copa, today it's Brazil versus Paraguay. Friday, Venezuela versus Argentina, and Colombia versus Chile. Again, matchup of 2 of the top teams, Colombia and Chile. And Saturday, Uruguay versus Peru. So I would think overall, competition-wise, are we out of time? All right, we are out of time. We got to the soccer. We got the mentions of who's playing who, but that's it. We are out. Happy 4th of July. Go to New Haven. Skip the fireworks. Saturday, July 6th. Coffee, spelled with a K and with a question mark. See my art show, July 6th. You don't need to see fireworks. Come see some art. There'll be drinks. There'll be food. There'll be everything. Maybe come on down to New Haven. All right, we're out of here. We'll see you after the holiday break. Take care.
She's that dream of my desire. She's the one fueling the fire. I see her standing there wanting lust with the air.